So hi, it's Paul Green from the business community doing another one of our spotlight on interviews where we delve into the business life of a local business owner. And today I'm joined by Kathy Bassett. Hi, Kathy.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming along. So before we poke about a little bit and find out what makes you tick, do you just want to do a quick introduction and let people know who you are and what you do?
My name is Kathy Bassett. I'm a business coach. I own a franchise with Action Coach and I have done so for the last 10 years. Thank you.
Okay, very clear. So tell me your business journey. How did you get to the point 10 years ago where you decided to become an action coach?
Right, okay. You'll learn from this, everybody, that I'm quite a bullet pointy person. So hopefully that'll be okay. I'd always had jobs working for big corporates, you could say, like an awful lot of people who start out in business on their own. And I took redundancy from my last job and thought, right, what do I do now? I'd for many years got frustrated by what I would call unsatisfactory managers, bosses. I've always been a person that likes to work with teams, likes to develop teams, likes to make changes where they make things more efficient. But I found that mostly my bosses didn't want to do that. So I thought about working for myself, but at this point, I was a qualified accountant. Well, I'm still a qualified accountant, but I didn't really want to go into business on my own, being an accountant. That just wasn't for me. So what I did was I went looking for interim roles. And then a past colleague sent me an email she'd received from Action Coach, the franchise, business coaching franchise. And I thought, oh, what's all this about then? And so anyway, I read through all the stuff. I went to meet the people. I liked the idea of what they did, which was using the framework of Action Coach and what I knew from my experience in the past to help people move forward with their businesses. That sort of excited me. And I've always been very much into communication and teamwork and development and that sort of thing. So that all fitted quite nicely together. So I due diligence them to death and then decided, let's give it a go. So that's how I ended up in Action Coach.
So in your corporate world then, had you come across coaches before, or was it a role that you were familiar with before you came across Action Coach?
Not a role, but I was conscious of the fact that to be a manager responsible for a team of people to achieve things for the business, you had to develop them. Therefore, you could label it as coaching. I didn't have coaching myself. I went on a few training courses on practical operational type things, but not on me, how to develop me. And I was keen that actually I should develop others. And the same as the people who didn't work in finance, the non-finance people, I coached them around using the numbers to make business decisions, but I didn't call it coaching. I called it doing my job. And it wasn't until I came across the Action Coach thing, I thought, actually, what I've been doing all these years, as well as delivering the finance and numbers and all that sort of thing, is actually developing and coaching people.
Right. Okay. So it's a natural progression then, really.
Well, I believe so. Yeah.
So a question popped into my head and straight back out, which is very. Oh yeah. So did you look at any other options for setting yourself up in business, other franchises or other ideas, or was it just that happened to land on your desk and that seemed to be the right thing to do?
I'd love to say it was all planned because that's what I advocate, planning and setting goals. But actually, no. I hadn't come out thinking I'm going to do business coaching. I hadn't come out for my job thinking I want to set up a business on my own. In fact, I was looking for interim work. Because at that time it was in my head that I just need to replace what I am now. At the same time, I was getting divorced and selling my house. So actually I needed an income.
Yeah.
So I was looking for a job.
Yeah.
And Action Coach came along and actually I thought yeah, why not? Why not? This fits. So it arrived on its own, if you see what I mean. I didn't have to go searching for it.
So as you know on your travels, and as I know on my travels, not everybody has like an external, let's call it an external influence or advisor or whatever in their business. But for those that are maybe a little bit skeptical about having a coach, if we just stick with that right now, well, what would you say to those people?
Give it a go. Give it a go. I have a lot of people I come across think that they have to have failed in order to have a coach. And I so disagree with that. I have a coach. I have a coach. The coach holds me accountable. I believe we all need somebody in, well, all parts of our life, you could say, really, but particularly in business. You get people like, I don't know, famous athletes like Lewis Hamilton. You get people like Andy Murray, a football team. They all have coaches that don't go out on the field and say, we'll all run around and kick a ball and see what happens. You have to have a plan. You need some accountability to push you to be the best that you could be. And there's no failure in that, for goodness sake, is there? We're all entitled to that. Nobody sets us up at school to run a business, do they? Nobody teaches how to do that. So I think forget all of that. Get rid of your preconceptions and just talk to somebody. Give it a go. What have you got to lose?
Yeah. And what would you say, put you on the spot now, because, there's coaches out there, there's mentors out there, there's business advisors out there, there's trainers out there, there's counselors out there. What would you say is, and that's probably too big a question, but what would you say either distinguishes a coach from any of those other services, or what would you say are some of the main differences between engaging a coach versus any of those other types of businesses?
A coach versus a consultant, for example. I see personally in my mind that a coach will guide you. A coach won't do it for you. And a coach will hold you accountable for achieving the goals you've set, not goals that they've set. I think everybody can help. There might be somebody who's in the same line of business as you who can tell you what they did to grow their business. But that's not an overview. That's something that they can show you because they've done a similar thing and made it work. Whereas a coach has the overview and actually just wants you to be the best you can be with your business according to where it is you want to go. So it's a more factual relationship. It's a more overview relationship, and it covers all areas of your business. It's not a specialist type thing. Does that answer the question or not?
Yeah. That's good. It was a bit of a lot. We could have spent half an hour debating it. So when I was asking the question, I thought this is probably not appropriate for this session. But hey, it just came out as it does. So how do you initially engage with someone then? If someone was so you said earlier, they should give it a go. How would they give you a go? How would they check you out? How would they know that you could potentially help them? What's the entry level for anybody interested in engaging your services?
Right. I post every day on LinkedIn. I post every day on Facebook, so they could connect with me that way. I have a website which they could connect me on and actually book in for a free coaching session. So that free coaching session would be an hour where they chat to me and actually we find out a bit more about each other, if you like. So it's a coaching session, but it's me finding out about their business, them sussing me out to see if there's anything there that actually we might be able to work together. So separate to that, I do outgoing marketing myself of various other ways. But for them to come to me, it would be my website, my social media stuff. Was that?
Yeah. That's fine. So basically, they would get like a 3-hour taster, if you like, to find out a little bit about how you work and whether there was some.
Yeah. And then after that, if we decided that we wanted to take it a little bit further, I'd gain more information on them. I have a questionnaire that people fill in, so I can find out more of their business and dig a little deeper, because it's all about me sort of digging away for them to share things with me, for me to convince myself, and I suppose them as well, that actually I can help them.
Yeah.
And actually, we want to, and actually, I feel as I can work with them as well, because it's a two-way process. It's not just them deciding they want to work with me, but it's me deciding I want to work with them, and I feel as I can help.
Yeah.
And such a,
Yeah, sorry. And do you work and this may vary, is it weekly you work with people, monthly? How does that actually work, or does it depend on the perceived need of the client?
it depends how quickly they want to progress. Most of my clients are weekly clients, set time every week on a set day.
Yeah. And how long would a session be, for example, just to give someone a flavour?
An hour.
Okay. And again, some of the barriers that I come across is people say, well, I haven't got time for that. You know, I can't spare an hour in my business to do that. What would you say to those people?
Can you afford not to?
Yeah, on one level, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, what I believe, can you afford not to? Because part of what I do with people is everybody can always be better organised. All of us can always be better organised. So putting things in places, whether it's process, systems, personal organisation, to free up the time so that the hour they spend with me disappears into nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got them so well organised that actually it's just, once they've started and they see the results, you wouldn't stop. I have some clients that I've had 5 years, for example,
Mm-hmm.
because they still get a value. And at the end of all of my sessions, I always ask people what value they have got from the session, just to make sure that we're still on track and we're still working together in the right direction.
Yeah. So by the nature of what you're doing, you're making them more productive or more effective. So actually, the hour out of the perceived loss of time is actually an overall gain. Once they start working effectively, then it's that hour is going to be worth much more in terms of a cost to them in money or time. Am I right in thinking that you offer a guarantee as well for anybody that works with you?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I guarantee that if I don't find my fee within 17 weeks, then I'll coach them to free till I do. That's always supposing they're doing all their work that we've agreed they're going to do, of course.
Yeah. Okay, that seems fair enough. And what happens, because you must come across it, or I've certainly come across it, is you're working with somebody, they're setting the goals, they know you're rocking up a week later or a couple of weeks later, and you get there and the goals haven't been done. How do you sort of like address that, specifically if there's a consistency to it where they just sort of seem to not be able to make time to get the things done that they agreed they would do?
What we do is we have a conversation about, because they always feel bad before they get to me.
Yeah.
So they've already thought about what they're going to say.
It's a bit like the excuse for the teacher for not doing your homework, isn't it?
But essentially, I'm not the teacher. They're
No,
doing this
sure.
for themselves, not
Yeah.
for me. So we talk about how important is it to them? Are they ever going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
How vital is it? Should it not be in the plan at all? And in the end, they come up with, yes, you're quite right.
Mm-hmm.
I need to cover this, or I need to do it in 2 weeks. We might discuss whether they were being realistic in their timing in the first place, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we address the issue, but I don't say you have to do it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's their goal, not my goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you come across the book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone?
I have.
Okay, well, what if you're familiar with that? Well, what's your view on that? Because he challenges the sort of whole aspect of sort of SMART goals, and he suggests that really you're probably not challenging yourself enough if you're setting what SMART sort of suggests are realistic goals. And he's saying one of the premises, if you set yourself a 10 times higher target, you're more likely to achieve better than you would have done if you just sort of set that 1 times target. What's your view on that?
My view on that is, if you aim for something really, really, really big and you think, I'm never going to, no, it might be unrealistic at one level in your own mind. But actually, if you set for that, rather than thinking, oh, I haven't achieved that, oh, I'm down in the dumps, that actually you'll achieve more than if you hadn't set that really, really big goal in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
It does, yeah. You know, it's an interesting. I quite enjoyed the book. I'm part of a business book club, just to really to force me to read at least one business book a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
And that was one that we covered. I think it was two books ago. And you know, the business books I like the most are the ones that challenge the norm, because I don't know how avid a reader you are. When you read quite a few of these books, there's a lot of similarity in them. You
There
know,
is, yes,
just
yeah.
put in a different way, but you know that they're pretty much saying the same thing. And also my experience, just this business books a bit, is there seems to be a, you know, unless it's a minimum of 200 pages, it's not a worthy business book. Whereas a lot of them can probably be done in about 100 pages and still get across the same thing without all the waffling.
Yeah, there's a lot of slim books. Like if people aren't used to reading, that I give my clients to read. Well, I suggest they read because it's part of their development that we cover in all of the
Yeah, yeah.
relationship. So something like 1 Minute Managers, there's a whole series of 1 Minute Manager books, which you
Hmm.
can glean. My clients have gleaned enormous amounts, and actually they can live with the fact that it's not going to take them ages to read it.
Hmm.
Or I get them to look on Audible or something like that. We find a way, or they might watch TED Talks, for example,
Yeah.
so it's video, depending on how they do it. But when I start out with the clients, sometimes that big goal, their head's not got the capacity to go for the big goal. So we might, for the first few months, say, well, how about for the next 6 to 12 months, we aim for something that's a bit of a stretch, but not the biggie. They get more confidence in themselves and setting the goals,
Hmm.
and then they go, right, okay, I'm ready now. Let's go for the biggie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a bit accommodating around the individual person, but the idea is you go for the biggie.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So, I ask people on these on the subject of books. I'm sure you're familiar with Simon Sinek. Start with why. So, I do ask people on this session. You know, what's your why? What's your driving force?
Right, okay. I've struggled with my why over the years. When I first started, my why was to earn money, to pay my bills, to go on my holidays, do the things that I used to do when I had a job.
Hmm.
Then, as time went on, and I did that for a few years and started building my business, I then moved on to actually, rather than being out there selling me, if you like, I was out there looking for people who I could help to achieve their dreams, their whys. And actually, what I wanted came as a result of me doing what I can, a good thing, if you like. To helping other people brings me what I want in life. So my why now is, one is a personal one for a family member, if you like, a family member in the money sense, to help somebody. And the other part of it is to help other people. If I can help other people, let me help other people, and I'll get my, what goes around comes around, if you like. If you
Yeah,
do what's right, it comes back to you, doesn't it? So
yeah. Sort of pay it forward attitude. Absolutely. So, there's loads of coaches out there, Kathy. You know, it's also an unregulated market, so people don't, you know, could just decide. As they come out of furlough and possibly being made redundant, I'm going to be a business coach, and you know they could set up the website and be out there doing it. So, what distinguishes you from your competitors? Why would someone choose you versus the myriad of options that are out there?
right, okay. One has to be the franchise, the fact that what I operate through is a franchise which has tried and tested processes, procedures, systems that have helped businesses grow in 70 odd countries around the world. So that's one. It's a framework that we should adapt to individual clients, so it's not set in stone. And then you've got all around of that, we have proof, if you like, social proof of testimonials, because there are quite a lot of coaches around the world that are signed up with Action Coach. We have lots of testimonials where what we do has worked to help people grow businesses in lots of different sectors, so that it's not sector specific, it can be anybody. And then linked to that, of course, you've got me. And me and my background and my personality and the way that I work as well, which has to come into anything any of us do, really, doesn't it? You have to be able to work with the person.
So I'm just turning off notifications in the background, which I should have done earlier, because they'll always pop up, which is just when you don't want them.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And do you come across competitors in the field, or is your sort of like route to market either proactively by you or how people find you? When you come across them, are they looking at a number of different options, or have they just decided that you're pretty much the person they're going to go for? How does that tend to play out for you?
Actually, it's funny. Occasionally, say I don't know, I sent a letter out and I follow up the letter. Occasionally, I've come across, oh, we're already having a chat with the coach. If it's an action coach, I bow out gracefully, but that's not not very often. Some of them already have coaches, but not many.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, considering how many coaches I've come across, there aren't an awful lot of people that actually won't talk to you because they've already got a coach or they're already seeing a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the 200 odd action coaches in this country, it's not often you come across, and we're not ever so limited on where we can coach. We have postcodes, if you like, but more than one coach has the same postcodes. But there are so many businesses out there that we could, between us all, help, that actually we don't really compete. And I come across other coaches that nothing to do with action coach, and I always have a conversation really to see if there's any collaboration to be had, because sometimes we do totally different things.
Yeah. I think there's different approaches, different methodologies that people use, aren't there?
Yeah, I'm all for it, because then you have somebody as part of your team, don't you? And you can help if you can help each other. Sometimes you're too similar, so it's perhaps not going to work unless you've got a different target market, of course, and you can help each other that way.
Yeah, so that was my next question then. Is there any ideal sort of like clients that you like to work with? Do you have like a sweet spot for you?
A sweet spot for me is a business owner is successful but wants to be the best in his field. So that I go for the person these days, and in an established company with a team, so we can move them forward much more quickly because they can delegate. It's easier to set systems and processes up, that sort of thing, because there's other people to do things because they're not doing everything on their own. So that would be my sweet spot. I have clients who are smaller businesses who I can help too, but if you said my sweet spot, then that's it.
Okay, excellent. So as we're recording this, we're still, we'll always probably be in a pandemic, I guess, because it's not going to go away, but at least we're out of lockdown. But certainly for the last 20 months, I guess most businesses' biggest challenge has been sort of like surviving the impact of COVID on their business. Outside of that, in the 10 years that you've been in business, Kathy, what would you say is the biggest challenge that you've faced?
Me personally.
Yeah, either you personally or you as a business.
Right, okay. My
Or,
biggest challenge,
or both.
well, I suppose it's a link, really. My biggest challenge since I've been doing this, if you like, has been adapting from being an employee, a frustrated employee, to actually going out and selling myself without selling myself.
Mm-hmm.
Just learning about people's businesses and getting past the fact that you have to go out and push coaching down everybody's throats because they all need it, don't they? Type thing.
Yeah.
To having conversations with people. And I found that although that's more natural for me to chat to people, I see in my mind, I did a switch and thought, actually, now I need to go out and sell myself. And it took me a while, and it was a really big challenge. It took me a while to settle down and just talk to people about their businesses, and the rest follows naturally, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I'm not alone in that. I think it's fair to say other businesses I've come across, it seems to be a fair thing that actually other people find that difficult as well. Asking for the business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, as you know, Julie Futcher, it's what she sort of tends to help people with is, this supposed fear of sales, and how to overcome that. So you are in a position to, sell your wares, as it were. So for me, touching on what you said, I mean, yeah, I believe that every business owner should have some sort of external influence, whatever you want to call it.
Yes,
and also I'd say, if there's people listening or watching that think they can't afford a coach, which that might be the case if you're in the early stage of your development, go and find someone in your network, in your peer network, that is just an ear to bend or a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah, indeed.
Just to get that probably not friends and family, I would suggest, because they're too invested and sometimes in a negative way rather than a positive way, in my experience. But just someone that you might meet through networking, or someone that you admire that's running their own business and you just want a piece of that, as it were. My experience of going up and asking someone if they can spare an hour a month. Not a lot of time, but over a coffee, over a beer, over Zoom, it's easy now, whatever. Just go and get that and just sort of like collate, not just the problems, the opportunities you might be missing out on, and buzz that past someone. And my experience is there are people that are out there that are more than happy, to help you and bring you up, particularly if you're a newer business, because as you touched on earlier, it's a sort of pay it forward attitude, isn't it? It's like, let's nurture the economy and bring these businesses up, because the stats are against small businesses, new businesses succeeding.
I agree totally. And actually helping somebody else isn't just you being the hero, if you like. It's the right thing to do, and it gives people an enormous amount of satisfaction, I'd say, to think that you've helped another soul.
Yeah.
In where they want to go with their business.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even have an accountability partner, of course.
Yeah.
I found some sort of like a referral people I'm working with as referral partners, and where we talk once a month, and we said with each one, it's I suppose it's a select few that we've chosen each other, if you like, where by the time we next talk, we'll have done X, Y, and Z. So although I've got a coach, I still have that accountability, and although I am a coach, I still have that accountability.
Yeah, absolutely. So you kindly agreed to sort of like share some top tips with us. So I'm going to stick you in solo mode and make the floor yours. So there you go. So off you go. The floor is yours, Kathy.
Thank you very much. Kathy Bassett, business coach, as you already know, probably. I spend a lot of time advising folk, advising business owners that if they want a successful business, then they need a plan and they need to set themselves goals. When you start out in business, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, you don't start out in business in order to fail, in order to get frustrated, in order to work long hours, have no business, lose loads of money. You don't, do you? So in order to move your business forward, to achieve what it is you want to achieve, you need to be clear on what you want to achieve, what it looks like in pound signs, what it looks like in time with family, etc., and put it into a plan. So why wouldn't people want a plan? Are people scared of actually setting goals that don't work out? But that's fine. Redo the plan, learn by your mistakes, and move forward. When you look out and about, you find that an awful lot of people have coaches, accountability partners, people to push them. And if you looked at, say, like Lewis Hamilton, Formula One, Andy Murray, tennis, any top football team, well, any football team really, they don't go out there and do their stuff and say, well, I'll just bat the ball backwards and forwards and hope it works out okay. They don't, all 11 people go out on the pitch and kick a ball up and down and hope something happens. They have to have a plan, don't they, in order to get the goals. Pardon the pun. So from where I'm sitting, life doesn't work that you go out there and you can do your best, but you're not aiming for anything, so you won't get the best from yourself. So get yourself a plan, get yourself some goals, and top tip is get yourself an accountability partner. Just go do it. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. I think people can be a little bit nervous about doing a business plan, because I think, when I first set up in business, went to get the bank account, you have to do a business plan for the bank, and they send you this sort of like template, which is quite scary, because it's 20 pages long or whatever it was, and that can be, quite an intimidating thing to have to go through, and even in its basic form, if you're just sort of got an A4 sheet of paper, if you like, and you just put some basic goals on there that you want to achieve, for argument's sake, over the next 12 months, and then just break those down into some action steps that you know are going to sort of like get you there, that can be a plan for you. It's better than nothing, you know. That shouldn't be too daunting for most people, just to get one sheet of paper and just sort of stick, you know, some goals on that and a few ideas how they're going to move it forward.
I find that it might sound a little bit negative, and I don't mean it to be, but I come across an awful lot of people who shy away from putting goals down on the page and don't want the structure, don't want a plan. And I think it's finding the words to get across to people. So why did you go into business? Surely you went into business to give yourself, I don't know, most people wanted freedom from working for somebody else, want to do what they like when they like, which a business case, if you're organized and you have a plan and you have goals, you can set time aside to do the school run, for example, or go and watch on sports day. Because a lot of it seems to be surrounded by, if people have children, a lot of it. But actually, you can free up that time, can't you? So why would you not plan? Why would you cause yourself stress when you have to take time out or feel guilty? Whereas if you put it all together as not necessarily a complex plan, just block certain times out in your diary. It's a bit like doing your emails, isn't it? You get bogged down with emails because you let them interrupt you. Do them at set times in the day. Block that out. Allow you that time. Allow yourself the time to go for a walk around the block. But it's all part of planning your day, isn't it? But I do find people shy away from that, and that worries me a little bit, because actually they won't get the best from their businesses. They might do okay, but they won't get the best from their businesses and themselves if they don't plan. So I feel a bit like a stuck record. I know that. Because it's a real thing for me.
You're forgiven. So if you were to give one final top tip for any small business owner out there, from either you as a small business owner or you as a coach, what would that one top tip be, other than planning? Because I know you've harped on about
that. But actually, I'm back to the link with that. Really, get somebody to help you. Get an accountability partner.
Yeah. And that's really somebody that you're sharing your goals with, that they're making sure that you do the goals when you're saying you're going to do them, and that might be 15.
No letting you off the hook.
15-20 minute call every week, I guess, just to sort of like really do that. It's not a long process. The danger with that, though, which is just a warning, which I've seen happen, is sometimes these can end up as like little social chats rather than accountability, and you've got to be careful that you don't end up getting into that. You know, you've got to sure have your social bit, do whatever, but just make sure you've got that element where, you know, you're not letting that person off if they aren't hitting the goals. You know, you've got to understand what's getting in the way.
What I do with clients is we have an exchange of how's it going, folks, and then they say about their personal goal. They've had some personal goals from the previous week, and they have like a focus sheet they fill in from the previous week about what they're going to do this next week, and then they have to talk me through the focus sheet. So I do something similar, but without the focus sheet, with the people that I'm chatting to referral partner wise, if you like, so that actually we say, well, what's happened with that? What's happened with that? And then what their brightest achievement for the week? What's the greatest challenge for the week? So the structure to all of this with clients, but actually I try and cover that in some of the conversations I have with referral partners as well. So even there, you're not social chit-chatting. You do a little bit of that. And then you go straight onto the work side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, you'll be pleased to know your ordeal is done here, Kathy. So thanks for your 30 plus minutes today. So thanks for coming along. I'll end the broadcast there.
Thanks for inviting me, Paul.
No problem.